Find the value of the exponential expression, we need to first define the parts of the power. The parts of an exponential expression. So you have the base and the power. The base is the 2, the exponent is the 3, which is also known as the power. So you have an expanded form and a condensed form. An expanded form means that however or whatever value you see of the exponent, that's how many times you're going to multiply the base times itself. So I see an exponent of 3, so that means I'm going to multiply the 2 times 2 times 2. The 2 is represented 3 times. And then a condensed version of that is going to be 2 to the third, which when we put in the calculator is going to equal 8. Okay, so for number 2, we have the base of 4 raised to the exponent of 4. So when we expand this, we get 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, or 4 to the 4th, which is going to give us 256. Decimal calculator. So the way I see it was with parentheses around the fraction and then an exponent of 3. So what you want to do is you want to push the parentheses button first and then press the fraction button, arrow to the right, close the parentheses, and then to get the exponent, we're going to use the AB button, which is right here. So let's go back into the fraction, and I have 4/7, and then again we're going to arrow outside the parentheses and use the AB button. And what I mean by AB button is AB, because this is going to be your base, which is the 4/7, and then the B is going to be your exponent, which is going to be 3. And you want to see that as a superscript. So now that I have 4/7 to the third power, we want this in a fraction form. So you're going to go ahead and press that bubble to the right of that decimal in the decimals calculator, and I'm going to get 64/343. This is already in lowest terms because the calculator defaults that for you. Okay, so let's do number 5. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. I want to use the parentheses, which is the button in the lower right, 0.005. We need to go back. We're missing a 0. And then we want to close that with the parentheses. We're using the A to the B button. So the base is going to be 0.05. This is the base, and this is the exponent. And then we're going to use the A to the B button to express that. So I get a superscript, and I type in 3. Now, it gave me an answer in scientific notation. We can try using the fraction button, but it's going to go ahead and give us 1/8,000. That's the answer. For number 6, so you want to use PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. This is a cycle, and every new line's a new equation. So you're going to restart this cycle multiple times when you're solving multi-step problems. So I'm going to do multiplication first because I don't have any parentheses or exponents. So I have 66 plus 10 plus 19, which is 190. And then together I get 256. So adding was one of the last steps in order of operation. So that's why I multiplied those 2 sets of numbers first. So then you have something like number 7. So it's 73 minus 6 times 2 times 6. You're going to do all of the multiplication first, but you're going to carry this -6 with you. So first I'm going to do -6 times 2. So I have 73 minus 12. And then whatever you don't use, you're just bringing it down again to create a new problem. And I'm going to have -12 times 3. So 73 minus 36. And then in this case, I'm going to get 37 as my final answer. Now, when you multiply fractions, you multiply going across. So I'm going to do these 2 fractions first and then the second one. So first I do 7 times 1 is 7. 4 times 3 is 12 plus 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. My common denominator is going to be 12 times 10. So it's going to be times 10 times 10 times 12 times 12, 70 over 120 plus 48 over 120. So 48 plus 70 is going to be 118 over 120. Then we're simplifying that by dividing by 2. And I get 59 over 60. Show you that whole problem on one screen. And the calculator, so like number 10 is 240. And then we use the divide button, 5. And then arrow to the right, -2. You still have to enter it by, well, thinking about the order of operations. So division comes before subtraction. And our answer here is going to be 46. So when we do this, we're going to say 240 divided by 5 minus 2. 240 divided by 5 is going to be 48 minus 2, 46. Okay, so the next one is going to be 7 squared. So I use 7, and then I can use the A squared button or the AB button. If I use the A squared button, it automatically squares it for me. So I would say 49 minus 28. So then I would say minus 4 times 7. You're getting 21, and that's correct. My answer is 21. Okay, so now, just so you know, the calculator does not always have the right answer, so it's still important for everyone to know how to solve these longhand. So the x is 3 and the y is 7. Wherever I see an x, I'm going to replace it by 3. So this will be multiplication. This is going to be a 7 as a denominator, and this will be 7 as a base, so it'll be 7 squared. So the way that this works is that I get 4 times 3 over 7 plus 7 squared. And when I simplify that, I get 12 over 7 plus 49. I add the 1 underneath the 49 because I need to find the common denominator. Common denominator is going to be 7 times 1. So this is like evaluation of a variable, like a simple way of looking at it. So then I get 12 over 7 plus 343 over 7. When I add that together, I get 355 over 7, and that's in lowest terms. So that's my answer. 8. When I set this up, I get 4 times 10 plus 15 times 8 over 2. 4 times 10, I got to do order of operations is 40. And then 15 plus 8 is 120, or times 8 is 120. And then all of that is still over 2. I add the numerators, and I get 160 over 2. And final answer is going to be 80. Times 4 squared plus 8 times 4. So 3 times 4 squared plus 8 times 4. Order of operations says that I have to do exponents first and then multiply. So we're going to look at these as their own terms. I'm going to do this one and then that one. So I rewrite everything and I say 3 times 4 squared. You can't do it like that. You have to say 4 squared. So it's 3 times 16. And then it's 8 times 4, which is 32. And then we do 3 times 16 next, which is going to be 48. 48 plus 32 is going to give me 80. 2 plus 4 times 2, all that's squared. So I say 2 plus 8 squared. And then I'm still working inside the parentheses, so it's 10 squared. The answer is 100. Now, absolute value just means that everything that comes out of absolute is going to be positive. So that equals a positive 6. Negative 22 out of the absolute value. Think of absolute value bars as like just 2 straight lines. They're not brackets or parentheses. They're 2 straight lines. So that becomes 22. This one is actually an operation. So it's a negative absolute value, negative 1 over 4 absolute value. So we work inside the absolute value bars first. So I bring down my negative, and then I get 1/4. So my answer is negative 1/4. Absolute value bar. So I have for absolute value 6 plus 5 times the absolute value of negative 8. So I start on the left. When you take a positive out of an absolute, it stays positive. So 4 times 6. And then when you take a negative out outside of the absolute value bar, it becomes a positive. So it's plus 5 times 8. So I get 24 plus 40. My answer is going to be 64.